Hi, my name is Shannon Rudisell. I'm a certified North Carolina peer support specialist working on an aggressive community treatment team here in Gaston County. Today, I'm reporting on my Capstone project for my English 114 class at Stanley Community College. The topic I chose to discuss today is a no identification, no paperwork food bank needs to be established in Gaston County to help those who do not have state IDs or paperwork to prove that they are in need. We have several food banks here in Gaston County. Each of those requires that they have a state ID or some form of ID, along with paperwork to show that they're in need and have food insecurity right now. The problem with that is that there are homeless people in our county, in the country. 1 out of every 9 people is experiencing food insecurity. Out of those 1 out of 9, 3 out of 7 don't have IDs. So when they go to the food bank to try to get assistance, they're unable to because they do not have a state ID. And most of those are homeless. Because they're homeless, they're not able to keep up with an ID. They don't have the funds to get an ID. And most people don't have the $10 to buy food, much less to go and buy their identification. So they're not able to get help at our regular food banks. Most of the people who are contributing to the food banks here, such as Christian ministries or crisis assistance, don't realize that they don't serve the homeless community that doesn't have identification. So a lot of food is going to waste when it could be used to help those that are truly in need. What needs to be done to fix this? I think the most important thing that needs to be done first is to establish a board or a committee that can put together the simple questions that need to be answered. 1, how would we fund it? We need to reach out to local churches and also to the local food suppliers, let them know the need, and ask if they'd be willing to assist us. We also would need to establish a building. There's several empty buildings in downtown Gastonia that would work well for this type of ministry. But we need to find someone who's willing to donate the space for as little rent as possible. We'd also need to establish what the rules are for those who are being served by this. Not just because they don't have ID doesn't mean that they wouldn't have situations where we might not be able to serve them as many times. We couldn't do it every day. We might have time limits, and we need to know how we would establish those. The committee would also look into how the food bank would be run. Would it be every day? Would it be once a week, once a month? And how would we distribute that food to others? That would entail getting volunteers to help run the center, and that would be an important part of the puzzle. It's also important to note that many people who are homeless are not able to cook the food that they get. And oftentimes, if you go to a food bank here in Gaston County, you receive frozen foods, foods that are in cans, foods that are such as pasta and things like that that need to be cooked. But if you're homeless, you don't have the ability to be able to cook those foods. We need those suppliers who are supplying the food to the food banks to supply pop-top things that could be eaten quickly without being cooked. That would help a great deal in being able to start a no identification, no paperwork food bank. I think it's important to know that in this county, we have a number of homeless people who also have drug addiction problems. This would be the perfect opportunity for us to be able to supply them with education, help them know that they have a safe place to come where they can eat, as well as know that they are able to come and have a safe environment to talk about their drug addictions and to help them to find treatment. It would also be important to have security involved with this at the center when it's open so that we know that everybody's safe and that there are no problems with that. So that's the first important step, is to form that committee to answer those questions. I think that it would be important to get the local churches involved and to make sure that they understand why this would be a different type of food bank. Gaston County is a great place to live, and we have great resources here for those who are in need. This particular sect of people has just fallen through the cracks. I think it's important that we try to find a way to serve them, to help them with their food insecurities, and to help us to be better servants to the community. I did a number of research things to be able to do this report. I went and interviewed Mrs. Leah Hedgepath, who is the director at the Dallas Christian Ministries. She gave me a lot of input as to why they use identification and to why they keep track of who they can help. Their goal is to help as many people as possible, and they don't want to re-help people who they've already served and not be able to help another family that may be in need. That's completely understandable, and I think that those types of food banks need to still stay in place. We just need to have a place where those who don't have those IDs are able to go. That's my report, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. I think that this is an important part of Gaston County's outreach ministries, and I think it's important for the homeless here that we find a way to get them the food that they need to stay healthy. And I think it opens up the opportunity for us to help them with other needs that they may have and find out why they're chronically homeless if we have a place for them to come and they know that they won't be turned away. Thank you for listening to me today. I appreciate it. And I've also enclosed a few slides that show some of the information that I obtained in my report. Thanks and have a great day.